Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Elite Coaching Blueprint podcast. On today's episode, we are going to be talking about and teaching you everything that you need to know about content funnels. That means taking people from absolute strangers, warming them up and turning them into paying customers. And we're going to be talking about the biggest mistake that so many content creators and coaches are making nowadays when it comes to doing this. And we're going to talk about how you can fix that as well. So it's going to give you a full solution to all of this. Now, you listened to the last episode of the podcast in which we covered the journey, episode 1, my own personal journey of going from A to B and building my business and leveling up and scaling up and all that impressive stuff. Wanky. Self-aggrandizing, I think that would be called. Anyway, if you listen to that episode of the podcast, I talked to you about the specific approach that I'm going to be taking with my content going forwards. But I realized after kind of publishing that it didn't have any specific value in terms of what you need to know at a level by level basis of what a content funnel is, and how you can get people to, see your stuff more often, how you can warm the people up who see your new stuff and get them to know, like, and trust you. And finally, how you can take those people who know, like, and trust you, those leads who are engaged with your content and you and your community, and finally turn them into paying customers. So we're going to do that in today's podcast. So before we jump into it, for anyone who is listening to this, there is a visual element to this podcast. You should be able to watch it on the same platform that you are listening to this on, but don't worry too much. I'm going to be doing my absolute best to explain everything as we go through this and make sure that it is easy to understand, regardless of whether you are listening to it or watching it. I will also have this podcast episode recorded, so if you're really, really keen to give it a watch and you can't watch it for whatever reason on your end, just drop me a message at Jack Simons Official on Instagram and I'd be more than happy to send over the recording to you as well. So let's jump into it. Step 1. Why do we make content? What is the purpose of this? I think a lot of people make this mistake when it comes to content. They almost see your content, or you almost see your content as a separate thing from your business, or this thing that you just have to do, right? It's this thing that you kind of, I've got to make content today because everyone else makes content and that's how, I'm going to give value and stuff like that. And the biggest load of BS that I hear online from business coaches, mentors, gurus, all that, kind of community of things and people is give more value, post more frequently. What a load of shit that is. What a load of shit that is. Well, let's be honest, it's not shit. But it is often misunderstood. And if something's misunderstood very often and you keep saying the same thing, then in my opinion, that is a load of shit because you're not getting the message across that you want to do, right? There's that old saying, and I say old saying, I heard it on a Ricky Gervais podcast, so maybe it's not an old saying, but I think a philosopher once said, if a lion could speak English, you'd have no idea what he was saying. Why does that make sense? Well, if a lion could speak English, you have no frame of reference of understanding anything about his world. You don't know what it's like, hunting, or the smell of what an antelope smells like, or, you've got no frame of reference for that. So when he talks, even though he's talking English, it's a completely different universe to you. And you just be like, what are you on about? You'd understand the words, but you wouldn't get the concepts that he was talking about. And it's the same here. If I sit here and say to you, post more value, post more frequently, what do you think you're going to get out of it any different from the last 100,000 times that you heard about it? So we're going to go through this slightly differently today, and give you just a little bit of an insight in terms of what you can be doing and how you can understand that a little bit more efficiently and effectively so that you actually get the outputs out of it that you want and you're looking for. Okay? So the content that you make, why do you make it? Let's understand that at a base level. You make your content so that people can find your business, so that you can show people, hey, I know what I'm talking about. I know my shit. I'm an authority in this space. I can help you achieve what you want to achieve. And then finally, it's there to call people to action. So many people make the mistake with their content that they are essentially trying to create content so that, let's put it this way, they're trying to create content because they want to give value. Value being help, advice, whatever it is, right? And in doing that, they're hoping that people will, on their own, say, oh my God, I'd love to work with you, raise their hand and go, how can I pay you some money? And that is the big mistake within what we're doing here, okay? You are not creating content for someone to go, oh my God, I'd love to work with you. Now, yes, that can sometimes happen, but it is not the focus of what you're trying to do. And we can often get a little bit sidetracked by the odd one or two people who sometimes just naturally come through and go, oh my God, I'd love to work with you, and send you a message. That can make us think that content is there for that reason, but it's not. Your content, I'd like you, and this is what we used as the analogy in the last episode, I'd like you to think of your content in your Instagram page or TikTok page or YouTube page. It doesn't really matter. Your page is like a shop front. And if you were in a shop front that wasn't getting any traffic, you have to do something to bring people inside. Okay? Now, unless you are a big, high street name with people naturally gravitating to want to come in, or when you think of, I need to buy a new spade, I go straight to B&Q, right? You think of these shops and these places because they're at front of mind. And those big shops, those big places, those big retail chains, those are kind of like influencers, celebrities, people who are naturally getting a lot of engagement and following and views and stuff on their content. I'm not saying that they're lucky or that they got there just by pure chance. They put a lot of work in to get there. But for you, if you're in the situation where you are not one of those names, well, chances are you probably wouldn't be listening to the rest of this podcast. But if you are one of those people who isn't one of those big names, you're not naturally getting tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of views, likes, engagement, comments, and all that. If you're not one of those people, then you need to be doing something to bring people into your page, because your page, your shop, is like a shop that is sitting off a side street from that main street. The main street's got all the big names on it, the big brands, the big shops, the big retail chains. Your shop is down a back alley. Now, you might have a couple of people walk past every now and then, but the odds of someone walking in your shop are substantially lower. Why is that? Because there's just less foot flow. It's natural. It's not law of numbers. That's how things go. And that's okay. It doesn't mean that you can't move into a shop front on that main street one day. But for the time being, first of all, the first stage of your content funnel is you need to be doing something to bring people into your business. You need to be doing something to actually get people in the shop, see your wares, and sell them something. So how do you do that? Well, you want to create content that allows people to go, oh, I'll come check that out. Now, if you wanted to bring people into that shop, what could you do? You could walk out onto that main street where there's a lot of people, and the main street, being, let's say, Instagram street, and you could go out onto Instagram street, and you could hold up a sign, and you could shout out loud going, hey, we've got a shop down this back alley that sells toffee, right? If you'd like to come along, or fudge, right? Come along, come in. We sell fudge. It's amazing fudge. It tastes brilliant. We have loads of different kind of flavors of it, and we put extra sprinkles on top and everything, right? Now, a couple of people who really like fudge might go, fuck yeah, sounds pretty good. I'll go check it out. Okay? Posting like that, holding up a sign, is like posting organic content. It's like posting a video helping people out doing things, or, how to do this, or a tip on, what to do if you can't get your protein in, or, 5 things I wish I hadn't done when I started my gym journey, whatever it is, right? That's what organic content is. It's like going out on that main street, shouting and holding up a sign and saying, hey, we're down this back alley if you want to go in. Now, paid content, stuff that, people pay for, which is like ads or boosting posts, or, even if you have some form of lead magnet, I suppose in some senses, most people run ads to lead magnets after you've tested them out. That is like going out on that main street and having like maybe some freebies. Hey, we've got this fudge. Do you want to try some? Someone tries it. They go, oh, it's brilliant. You go, yeah, we've got a shop down there if you're interested, right? People come back and go into the shop and try it out. Maybe they've got to buy, a present for their nan or their sister or whatever it is on the way home. So they'll go in and check it out, right? So that's kind of what the process is of social media at the moment. You've got to be able to put yourself in front of people for people to even discover that your shop is there. Because if you're not doing that, your shop is just in a back alley, just sitting there. Think about it this way. How many Instagram accounts exist that you don't know exist? Like millions, right? Because you don't know that they exist. If they put a piece of content out and you saw that piece of content, or they put a lead magnet out and ran ads to that lead magnet and you saw it and you were like, oh shit, this is good stuff, you might give them a follow. You might buy their stuff. You might opt into the lead magnet. And that's the process that you're trying to do. Okay? So a content funnel, your content funnel, the reason we post content is at stage 1, at the top of the funnel. Imagine this is a 3-tier funnel. Tier 1, top of the funnel, is to bring new people in. It's to attract people to your page. So you want to create content that attracts new people to your page. And we're going to talk about that more in a moment, because people make such huge mistakes with this, okay? Because all they've heard is value, 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 right? Then tier 2 of that funnel, the second step down, is once you've got new people into the page, you need to get them to know you, like you, trust you, see you as an authority, and think of you as like the person to go to if they want a result. They go, oh shit, this person knows what they're talking about. I'm interested. I like their program. I like what they do. This is something that I'm vibing with a bit, right? That's tier 2. Know and attract is the first stage. And then second tier is get them to know, like you, and trust you. All right, show you as an authority. And then the third tier is your trust and sale tier. Sorry, your sale tier, not trust and sale. It's your sale tier, tier 3. That's where you go and you get everyone who you've warmed up and who likes you, trusts you, sees you an authority, is interested in your program, and you go, hey, I've got an opportunity for you, right? It's like going out on that main street and just holding up a big sign and being like, we have 5 bags of fudge left. First 5 people, come in, come get it, right? That's where you call people to action to do something, to buy your program, to sign up, to get on a discovery call, to download a lead magnet, whatever it is. That's the process you're going through. You take them from the top of the funnel where they don't even know who you are, and they go, oh, I'm kind of interested in that, actually. I'd love to know about fitness for nurses. I'd love to know about getting in shape as a doctor. I'd love to know how I can, lose body fat as a CEO. Excuse me there, just having a little sip of water. So that process is a funnel. It takes a bunch of strangers, warms them up, and you sell to them. So where do people get stuck? I don't know if you're watching right now, you'll be able to see on my screen. It might be backwards, but you've got the top of the funnel, the middle of the funnel, and the bottom of the funnel, tier 1, 2, and 3, right? Tier 1 being the attract at the top of the funnel, the widest part. Tier 2 being the trust level, their level where you get people who are now following you and you show them that you know your shit. And tier 3 is where you call them to action. You sell to them. It's the narrowest part of the funnel at the bottom. People get stuck in that tier 2 of the funnel, the trust funnel, because all they've been told for years and years, months and months, every single week on Instagram, post more value, post more frequently, post more value more frequently. That's where you're getting stuck. Is because imagine this like fish in a barrel, right? If I was fishing in a barrel and I already had a bit of a following, I decided I'm going to start coaching, I might be able to put an offer out one day and I can, catch a load of fish. And I think, fuck, hey, I'm good at this. I've got a few clients here. I've cast a line out. I've got a load of bites. I've got some new clients. Brilliant. You come to the next time you do it, you go fishing that barrel again, all like fucking cocky and going into it with a bit of a swagger. You cast a line and you're like, oh shit, hang on, what's going on? And you have a little look in the barrel and you realize there's no fish in there. That's what this process is like. You need to put new fish into the barrel, the top of that funnel, attract new people. You need to get new fish in that barrel, and then you can get the fish to trust you. Wow, we're going really wild with these analogies here. Get the fish to trust you, feed them, nurture them so they grow up. There we go. That's a good way to put that analogy. You feed them in the barrel, you nurture them, you let them grow up and get to a nice big size so that when you cast a line to catch them, when you go to sell them, the bottom of the funnel, you get a lot of bites and you get really good catches off the back of that, right? But because you're just feeding an empty barrel now, there's nothing there to get big. You're just wasting your time. You're just wasting food, wasting energy, right? God, that analogy came together lovely, didn't it? Fish in a barrel. Right. So that's the purpose of creating content. Bring new people in, warm them up, get them to trust you, and sell to them. What do you need to do? How do you do that? What's the purpose here? Okay, so funnels, they're in everything we do. Literally everything we do. Sales are in everything we do. Getting someone to, go out on a date with you, convincing someone to come back to your place, that's a funnel, that's a sales process. Trying to haggle someone down on buying a car, that's a funnel, that's a sales process in some way, shape or form. If you are getting people to watch your content, funnel. If you are trying to make sales, funnel. Hobbies are funnels. Like everything that we do can be put into a funnel, essentially, right? And it's the easiest way to look at things. So if we're looking at sales, at the top of that funnel, we want new followers, new people coming in. We want to start some conversations. We want to get into contact with our our followers, or, you know, put something out that they can interact with. We want to gain some trust with them, and then we can get some replies. We can actually talk to a human being. If we think that they're a correct fit, we can narrow that down. We maybe speak to, you know, let's say we have 100 followers. Out of those 100 followers, let's say we speak to all of them and we start a conversation. Of the 100 messages we send to those followers, maybe only 80 or 50 of those people reply. Of the 50 who reply, let's say only 25 of them are the right fit. We speak to all 50 of them. Half of them are grandmas. The other half of them are rugby players who we want to work with, right? We get those 25 rugby players and we go, oh, amazing, you're perfect fit. Right, let's have a conversation. Let's see if we can get a call booked in with them. You go through the process of trying to get into a discovery call or an inquiry call or a consultation or whatever it is. And of the 25 you speak to, maybe 10 book in a call. Of the 10 who book a call, maybe you only convert 2 or 3 of them. Now, that would be pretty poor conversion rates, but let's say only a number of them show up or whatever, right? But the point there being, you took a population of 100 people, 100 followers, and you narrowed it down to who's the right fit here, and then you made a process of trying to sell to them, all right? It's the same with dating. If I went out on a date and I go out into a random bar and there's 100 people in that bar, right? The population of that bar is 100 people, completely random, right? If I go into that bar and I just go random number 1 to 100, everyone's got a number on their chest, and I get number 56, and I go in and I say, would you like to marry me? What are the odds of that being my perfect match? Compared with if I go into that bar of 100 people, random people, and I go, right, well, who here is the right gender, sexuality, and age for me? Right, we got rid of 50% of the population in here. Of the people who are the right fit on that category, how many people here am I actually attracted to? Like, who do I like the look of? All right, maybe 20, 25. All right, perfect. Of those people, I'm going to go and have a conversation with them. One of them's a complete just like lunatic, and I think probably going to avoid that one. And you go through that process and you narrow down who has the right values and ethics in their life, who seems sane, right? And now you're down to 15, 10. And then of the people who you like, you go and approach them again. You say, hey, look, I don't know if you'd be interested, but I'd love to get a drink with you sometime, or whatever it is, right? Of the 10 that you approach, how many of those people actually book in and get on a date with you? You know, it's that process of narrowing people down through the sales funnel, through the content funnel. You know, everyone who follows you is not going to be a perfect fit for your content. And that is what we're trying to do there. We're trying to narrow people down. Okay, so, and if you're watching this, by the way, as well, I just put up on screen some numbers and stuff like that. If you are watching, at the top of that funnel compared to the bottom of that funnel, like I said to you, if we walked to that bar and we just randomly picked one person and went, hey, let's get married, what are the odds of that being successful as a strategy? Pretty low. Whereas if I go through that process of narrowing people down, seeing who I like, seeing who's the right fit, I'm much more likely to have a chance of success off the back of that. Okay, so it's the same with your content. Is when you're creating this content, when you're trying to get through this process of attracting new people in, getting people to trust you, and getting people to sell to, you need to go through doing the right actions at each of these steps. Okay, because if I go in, like I say, let's use that bar analogy again. Let's say I go into that bar and I use a tier 3, a selling type of content straight at the beginning. What's the odds of that working? It's like me going on Tinder and just being like, fancy a shag. Very low chance of success. You might get the odd like person of being like, let's go. But what are the odds of them being a good match? Let's be honest, right? So it's about creating the right content for the right things. Now, in my opinion, I believe you should be creating about 50% of your content should be machine gun content. This is what we call it inside the ECB. Machine gun content at the top. That is your attract content, right? We're going to talk you through these. So at the top of your funnel, remember, we've got the 3 tiers, top, middle, and bottom. At the top of your funnel, you should be creating content which is up there to attract new eyes to your page. We call that machine gun content, right? In the middle of your funnel, you have content that is there to build engagement with people who already like you and trust you a bit. It's there to build trust with them as an authority and show that you know your shit. And at the bottom of that funnel, the tier 3, the narrowest part of the funnel, that is content that calls people to action, is there to get people to do things, to buy from you, to download things, to, you know, sell to them, essentially. Okay? Attract people at the top, build trust with them in the middle, and then sell to them at the bottom. Now, what I said to you before, if you were watching on the, if you're watching this video, I showed you a little drawing of the funnel, and what I see so many coaches doing is they get stuck in the middle of that funnel. They've heard create value content, post value, post value, post value. And you're like, fucking hell, I'm giving as many best tips as I can. But the issue that you face there is it's not the right content. Remember the fish in the barrel analogy that I amazingly came up with. You're just feeding an empty barrel at this stage because you've dried up all the fish. You've got everything out of it that you could, and you're not replenishing the stock in there. So if you keep doing that, of course it's not going to work as an effective strategy. Will you still get clients? Maybe. Some people do okay with this kind of strategy and they still get clients through. You will see people who only post top of funnel stuff, machine gun stuff, and they just go off of a pure numbers game. It can work for you. It can, but it is less likely to. And if you're sat here listening to this podcast because you're like, fuck, I'm frustrated with my content as it is, then I would argue that you're probably not seeing the fruitful returns out of your content that you wanted to. And if you're not seeing the fruitful, I went Scooby-Doo there, fruitful returns out of your content that you want to be seeing, and you're doing the same with your content every single day as you have been for the last year, 2 years, and you change up the odd post here and there, but essentially it's just post value, then you need to do something different. Okay? So I would invite you, first stage, create machine gun content, a content that's going to attract new people to your page. Now, machine gun content should take up about 50% of what you're making. Half of your posts should be this kind of stuff to attract new people to your page. Okay? What is machine gun content? Machine gun content is that kind of Rambo style spray and pray, hope it works content. You got a machine gun, you spread it everywhere, a couple of bullets might hit, the rest just ends up causing a load of destruction around it, right? Spray and pray content, machine gun content, attract content, they're all the same thing. The point of this content is for it to be shareable, savable stuff. What does that mean? It means that it's something that someone will watch and go, that's fucking great, I'm going to send it to one of my mates, right? So maybe it's a funny video. And this is where the misunderstanding of what quote unquote value is. Okay? Value is not just, here's 5 tips to get more protein in. Here's a workout you can do when you're poor on time. That isn't what value is exclusively. Value can also be things that make you laugh. If I am your friend, let's say we've got a points category as a friend, right? And your friend sends you something that also makes you laugh and that you like, you'll give them a +1. If they send you something that they're kind of neutral to, just 0. And if they send you something that you hate and you were like, oh, that was really strange, I didn't like that, then you get a -1, right? Value is an exchange of things. It's saying, hey, here's something that is going to improve your circumstances in some way, shape, or form. And it can literally be a funny video, you know? Paul Alima is fucking brilliant at this kind of stuff. He exclusively pretty much makes this kind of... In fact, I don't think I've seen him create a video that's like, hey, like, here's how you can approach this better, or da-da-da-da. Now, I'm pretty sure... I mean, here's an example of where this strategy, where people exclusively do this. It works great. I see a lot of his stuff. I have no idea what he does. I think he runs a coaching program, and it's like an app. I think. Couldn't be 100% certain on that, because he doesn't create anything that talks about his program, or if he does, I don't see that sort of stuff, right? But I see all the kind of like highly shareable, savable stuff. It's stuff that can easily be consumed and doesn't take a lot of like mental bandwidth up for you to be like, fucking hell, is a 45-second video. You're on Instagram scrolling, watching funny videos. Someone's like, here's 4 strategies to increase your protein absorption. And you're like, oh, fucking hell, right? Next, right? So it needs to be something that's just easy for people to watch and they can ping off to a mate and just be like, funny, ha ha ha. Or it's something like a workout, like a save this for later. Quick workout routine that someone can do. They can save it. They can do it next time in the gym. Most people save it. They never do it, right? It could be a little trick or a tip for someone to implement, right? So I work with coaches. I help coaches improve their business. What's a little tip or trick that people can implement? We had a WhatsApp automation reel that every time we post it does pretty damn well. We get a lot of messages off of it and people save it and stuff like that, right? That is something that is valuable. It's quick. It's easy to do. It's like 45 seconds of me literally being like, if you've got an iPhone, you want to automate your check-in messages, here's what you need to do. Open this app, click here, 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 and here. You know, it's simple. They are generally short in length. 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 7 seconds, 30 seconds maximum if it's got a little bit more comedic approach to it. Okay, they give you some form of social value. Again, is it funny? Is it something that you can send to your mate and be like, oh, let's try this restaurant out next week or whatever, right? It's that kind of thing. And very often, this kind of content uses trending audio. It uses trends in general. Like if there's a trend of a certain thing going on, people do that and follow the trend as well. Okay, that's the kind of content that machine gun content is. It's there to attract new people to your page. Okay, so think about that sort of stuff when you're creating content. It still needs to be niche specific to an extent, but it can be the broadest outlines of what your niche is. Imagine your niche as a circle on a piece of paper. The closer to the center of that circle you get, the more specific and nuanced that kind of niche understanding of being a doctor is, or being a parent, or being a teacher, right? And getting in shape. The more close to the center you get, the more nuanced, the better understanding you require to know what that is. And to the further on the outside of the circle, the more broad it is. You know, most people know that teachers work in schools. Like, that's a broad piece of knowledge, right? So you can create content which is enjoyable and it's on that broader end of the spectrum, right? That's kind of more machine gun stuff, okay? So machine gun stuff, this is built to bring new eyes to your page. Do not get upset if this content does not make you sales. If you're just creating videos of like your ass in the gym because you're a girl and you know it gets you good views, or you're a lad and you've got an Irish accent and you've got abs, right? That seems to be the cheat code for lads. For girls, it seems to be get your ass out. If you are doing those and then you're like, oh, why am I not growing? Why am I not making as many sales as I want to be? It's because you're not actually giving people any value further than, oh, that's good to look at, next, and just getting their TikTok brain on like a repeat, right? You don't stand out in any way, shape, or form because you scroll again and there's another person doing the exact same thing, right? So it's about attracting new people to your page. But then this kind of content, if we think back to what we were saying again before about the date analogy, right? If I go into a bar, I ask a random person, hey, do you want to marry me? The odds of that being successful, if I just completely random choice of who it is, they might not even be the right sexuality, gender, age, etc., blah, 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 right? I might pick a neo-Nazi who's a 58-year-old man. It's just not going to work out, right? At the top of that spectrum, it's very unlikely to be a successful strategy. But if I go down whittling through the people and who's the right fit and blah, 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 as I get further down, I have a much higher chance of success. This is the same with your content. Those three tiers at the top of that content funnel, it is much less likely to convert into a sale for you. Pure game of numbers, of course you'll get a few, but you are not doing nearly enough that you need to be doing to actually convert those people, okay? And I can say that with confidence because I get average engagement, but we are consistently getting people reaching out about the program because we're taking people through this process. You do not need tens of thousands of followers to make a good living with online coaching. You do not need this. I can guarantee you that. I've seen it firsthand with enough coaches. I have worked with enough coaches to tell you, as a matter of fact, that is true. You do not need a massive, large following to do this, but you do need to do things in the right way. Okay? And again, if you're going off that pure law of numbers at the top of the funnel, then you need to be making content that's reaching hundreds of thousands of people and is very, very likable and shareable and savable, and just thousands and thousands of people go through it so that you can get the turnover of just law of numbers, right? So, top of the funnel, machine gun, brings people in, great to get new eyes on your page, isn't really there to get people to buy from you. Step 2, middle of the funnel, get people to trust you. We call this shotgun content inside the ECB. This is a little bit more direct. It's a little bit more aimed at people who, it's one target, one approach, but there's a bit of a spread there. The goal here with shotgun content is really to build it's really to build trust. It's really to build engagement with an audience who already know who you are. It's really there to show you know your shit and show you as an authority, okay? It solves problems. It shows solutions to problems. It can still be shareable and savable. It's more likely to show that you know what you're talking about and show that you can chat about a topic and be like, here's why you should do X, Y, Z. Here's what I did, that most people usually wouldn't, and it got me these results. Here's what, here's one thing that, so many other coaches aren't talking about when it comes to X, Y, Z. This style of content is usually short to medium length. It's usually short to medium length, okay? It is targeted directly at your niche. If we're thinking about that circle on the piece of paper again, we've now gone to the sort of, not the center, not the outskirts, we're kind of somewhere in the middle of the two, right? It's there that understands the nuances of what being a mum is like, and here's high protein recipes that you can cook that your kids will love, that are going to help you, lose weight, build muscle, something like that, right? Here's 5 meal deal hacks that you can use if you're an ambulance driver on the run and you're looking to lose weight. These are things that speak to my niche and show that I know my shit when it comes to helping my niche get a result. I can make content that is broader than just stuff that I can Google. You want to lose weight? Jump on a calorie deficit. Yeah, okay, cool. I've heard that a billion trillion times over. What can I actually talk to you about? If you're a CEO and you want to lose weight, you're going to be time poor. It's no use for you, trying to look for recipes and this and that, because you just don't have time to make it. Here's 5 meal deal companies that you can buy from to ensure that you're going to hit your calorie macronutrient goals and still lose weight. Something like that, okay? If I'm working with rugby players, maybe I'm now creating content that is specific about training, right? I'm not going to be like, oh, build muscle, strength, right? Of course they want to build muscle and strength. Here is 5 exercises that you absolutely have to be doing if you want to increase your strength in the lineouts, or lifting strength in the lineouts, if you want to lift higher in the lineouts. Here's, 4 exercises that you need to be doing on your neck day. I'm going to go and do neck and forearm day. Here's 4 exercises you need to be doing on your next training day to train your neck for the scrum, right? This kind of thing. It's unique to my audience. It shows that I know my shit. It shows that I can help them and I can actually deliver a really good result for them, okay? It's not like bicep exercises, right? No one gives a shit. Now, of course, rugby lads would probably be interested in the aesthetics. Maybe I want to include a little bit about that as well. It's about really engaging people. It requires a hook, okay? It requires you to, engage people and give them a promise. A hook, by the way, all a hook is saying, here's something to grab your attention, and it also is going to give you the promise. A hook is basically grab attention and then say what you promised to deliver in the video. And then as long as you fulfill that promise, people will leave it satisfied, right? So you want to say a hook that kind of gets people engaged. And then also, trending audio can, across the board, trending audio can help the stuff you're doing because it's trending. It's going to likely get more views, okay? This kind of content, you can do stuff that is value-based. You can also do stuff that is maybe a little bit longer on the comedy front, or like the infotainment front. If you're going to be, do recipes, for example, you could do something that's a slightly longer recipe, because people who've liked your stuff and started following you are probably involved and a little bit engaged in that kind of stuff anyway, so they're more likely to watch this stuff. Now, again, think about the likelihood scale. Top of the funnel, less likely. Bottom of the funnel, way more likely. This middle of the funnel stuff, it is rarely going to go viral. It's rarely going to get a shit ton of views, engagements, and saves, and people are like, oh my God, this is the best thing I've ever seen. It will get comments, it will get engagement, it will get watches and views and all that stuff, right? But it's not going to be the sort of thing where it's like Fleetwood Mac, what's he called? Cranberry juice longboard guy, right? That remember that video? That went mega viral because he didn't say anything in the video. It was a very short clip. It was kind of a bit like, what the fuck's going on here? He was a bit of a peculiar looking fellow, let's say that. And it was just one of those things that was kind of happy-go-lucky. It made you feel good. You could watch it, and then you probably send it to your friends because you're like, that made me feel good. I'll send it to my friend James, right? And then he'll go, that was funny, haha, right? It's a popular song. There's loads of things in there that kind of contribute to that. But you talking about like 4 mistakes that you shouldn't be making when doing a chest press is never going to go viral, right? We have a phrase in the ECB called viral for me. Viral for me is any content which matches in views, so it gets the same views or more as you have in a following, because your content on average is only going to be seen by about 10 to 20% of your audience. Okay, so if I create a piece of content and let's say I have arbitrary number 6,000 followers, right? If I create a piece of content that 6,000 people have viewed, that in our standards is viral for me. And it allows you to create content more objectively because it allows you to look at your content through the lens of what are people actually watching and looking at. How Instagram works is it will show your content to a small set of your followers. And if they watch it all the way through, they engage with it, they like it, they follow and tick all the boxes that Instagram need to tick to kind of go, yes, it's a good piece of content, Instagram will then show it to a wider audience. Okay. And these may be new followers. If that wider audience then like it as well and engage with it, they'll show it to a wider audience and a wider audience. And that keeps repeating, right? But that's only going to go so far because this content inherently is more niche. It is less broad. It's more nuanced than the stuff on the surface, right? You have to have a level of understanding of what it's like to be a lumberjack trying to lose weight, or a dentist who's trying to lose weight, 9 to 5 are trying to lose weight. You have to have a level of understanding there. By definition, this is more nuanced and it is less likely to go viral. It's just how things are. Okay, doesn't mean it can't go viral, but it is substantially less likely to go viral. Okay, and then we're going to go on to what actually, before we go on to that, we're going to talk about something that is like straddling between, remember, we've got the top of the funnel, middle of the funnel, bottom of the funnel, right? Top of the funnel, attract; middle of the funnel, trust; bottom of the funnel, sell. Or as we've gone over so far, top of the funnel, attract, which is what we call machine gun content, spray and pray. Middle of the funnel is trust or shotgun content. And at the bottom of the funnel, we have sales content, or sniper content, we call it, because it's like to the point, direct, one shot, one kill. In the middle, straddling between machine gun content, the attract content, top of funnel, and the shotgun content, the middle of the funnel, the trust content, we have what we call automatic shotgun content. Automatic shotgun content is content that straddles those two worlds of virality and kind of broadness, but also gives value on things. You will see this, that is usually, if you look at those reels, it'll be like, hey, check the caption out down below. That is automatic shotgun content. It has used a viral hook. It has used something that is a repeating sound, so it's going to get multiple views while you're reading the caption. It calls you to action to go, hey, check out the caption. So it's using the virality or the interestingness of whatever the clip is, or the hook, to kind of get you to engage with the piece of content, which is the machine gun element of it. And then the value of it is in the caption. So you kind of have this thing that straddles the two worlds, and those things can go a little bit more, viral than, a strict piece of shotgun content, the value content. These pieces of content, they can also be things that are maybe, we call this like these types of content or pieces of content, like community catalyst content, right? If you have ever seen, what's his name? Connor Price. He's the rapper. Check him out if you haven't. He's a rapper who does the Spin the World or Spin the Globe series. And essentially what he does is he spins a globe, stops his finger on it, comes up with Venezuela, and then he'll contact a local artist or rapper from Venezuela. They collab on a song, and then they release it on Spotify, and they tell the rapper's story and that sort of thing, right? That's a really kind of community catalyst piece of content. It's something that is really valuable because it's like the song is the value. It's kind of engaging, but it's got a high virality to it because it's like, oh fuck, like this is interesting. It's something new. It's something exciting. You're bringing in two audiences together. It's got a lot of kind of push for it, right? So that kind of content can be amazing, and this kind of stuff. You also have things where people do challenges quite frequently, right? So a account I follow has been doing, Lou Kelly, she's called Exercise Engineer. I talked about this in one of our webinars actually the other day. I think she does her content fantastically well. So shout out to Lou Kelly. Exercise Engineer, she was doing this series where she had, for every follower she got, she did a tire flip, right? For like to break the world record or something along those lines. And if she got 15 followers, she'd do 15 tire flips. If she got 100 followers, she'd do 100 tire flips. Now, you've probably seen the same with other pieces of content, right? I remember seeing one of this little kid who was like, hey, for every follower I get, I'm going to, spend that amount of money to fly to this country or whatever. And then I'll do, I can't remember what it was, like for every follower I get, I'll do X. And then as a result of that, I will do whatever the top comment tells me to do. And the top comment was something along the lines of like cook meth and start like a drug cartel or something, right? It was the most ridiculous thing that like obviously a 10-year-old or most people wouldn't do anyway, but especially not a 10-year-old. And it was funny in that sense. But the concept there is fucking brilliant for this kind of like high value, high community kind of side of things, but also the virality of it is that if I follow along with this journey, let's say I do, for every follow I get, I'm going to do a press up as an example, right? If I follow along and this guy does 5 press ups, I'm fucking hoping he gets 100 follows tomorrow, so he has to do 100 press ups, right? And then if I'm watching tomorrow when he's done 100 press ups, and he's saying like, I'm going to add in, I'm going to do, you know, the top comment as well with all of my press ups, right? I'm fucking hoping, number one, that he gets a shit ton of followers tomorrow, because it's going to be hilarious watching this guy trying to do 10,000 press ups. I saw this one guy saying he had a cat, and he said, for every follower I get, I will give my cat 1 stroke. So, and he had like 350,000 followers the next day, and he literally sat there on like a sped up video and stroked this kitten like hundreds of, like whatever it was. I can't remember the exact number, but it was ridiculously high. And it was hilarious. But if you're part of that engagement, you're like involved in it, right? So that kind of content can be amazing, because if you can add in like, oh, the top comment, now I'm incentivized to go and comment on that piece of content. And the whole thing here is, remember, when we're talking about shotgun content and you thinking value is just solving problems, it's not. What else is valuable? Community, socializing, you know, being part of a movement or an idea or something that's bigger than you. They're all valuable things. I'm providing value now by getting you to comment and engage on something and be part of like a funny meme or a movement or whatever it is. That's really fucking good content. So automatic shotgun, it straddles the two universes. It can be very easy to make. It can also be more complex. Okay. Finally, sniper content. Sniper content is the bottom of the funnel. Okay. Top of the funnel, again, just as a reminder, attracts new people in. Middle of the funnel is value content, trust content. It helps people know, like, and trust you more. You get new people into your funnel, you get them to trust you, you nurture them, and then at the bottom, you use sniper content to call them to action, to do something or take an action. Okay. Now, if we're doing this, sniper content is really there. It should be used infrequently, about 20% of the time. Okay. So the final 20% of your time. This is really emotion-based content. It's there to tell a story and show how you're an authority in an area and how you can help people as well and call them to action. It could be that you have a client result, a before and after, that's fucking unbelievable. And you're just like, hey, look, if you want these results, to DM me this word, comment this word, and I'll drop you a message. We can have a chat, right? That's sniper content. It's there to kind of convert the people who are already now looking for an opportunity to reach out. It could be something on your stories. You put a poll up and you say, hey, you know, you can do this more indirectly. What's your main goal for summer this year? Fat loss, muscle gain. And then everyone who likes it and engages with it, drop a message and be like, oh, amazing, cool. Like, are you going anywhere cool for summer that you're prepping for? And they're like, yeah, I'm going to Zante, you know, with the boys. And you're like, oh yeah, sick, blah, 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 right? You can talk them through that process, and then you can get them onto the process of like, well, hey, look, would you like some help in achieving this goal? Okay. It can be really direct, basically saying like, hey, sign up for my shit. Or it can be like, oh my God, like, is anyone looking to build bigger biceps? And then people are voting in saying yes. And you're like, brilliant, I've got something for you. It can be indirect like that as well. It can also be for stuff like lead magnets. Okay. So this is going to go a little bit meta, but it's almost like a funnel within a funnel. Within the people who are ready to buy from you or are engaged leads who are kind of ready to take some sort of action, you're going to have people who are more likely to kind of buy from you, and you're going to have people who are less likely to buy from you. From the ones who might be less likely, you might want to try and target those people more with like a lead magnet or a free challenge or something to do, so you can get that like last little bit of trust up with them that is like very low in interaction, low energy, low cost to them. Because although they're not paying you, they might pay you a small amount, but although they're paying you typically nothing, they're still paying you in their time, attention, and energy. And that is a very, very valuable resource, especially if the stuff you're putting out is shit, right? We want to make sure that it's good. So the bottom of this stuff is, this is the kind of like before and after images, client testimonials, stories, your own journey, calling people to action for lead magnets and guides and challenges and all this sort of stuff. It's personable. You are talking really, really hyper specific about certain outcomes that your niche want, right? If you're talking about nurses trying to get in shape, you'll probably have the odd nurse who wants to look like a bodybuilder. But if that's not what your program does, you're obviously not trying to sell or pitch that to people. So it's about creating content that calls people to take an action, right? You might have heard the phrase CTA, or call to action. All that is basically doing is getting people to do something that you want them to do. Download something, sign up for something, jump on a call, give you your email, all of these things. All right. That is what sniper content is there for. Okay. Outside of that, you can also be doing stuff on stories to kind of get high engagement. I think with stories, it is slightly apart from this funnel. I suppose if it was going to go anywhere, it would probably go in the trust element of the funnel and the bottom. Actually, it's probably the two bottom stages of the funnel, because stories are only followers watch your stories. Only highly engaged followers watch your stories. People who watch your stuff and keep up with your stuff. So these are people who are building trust in you. You need to show off the behind the scenes, your life, what's going on, how things are working, what the world's like in your world. Just sharing stories and insights, all that sort of stuff is massively important here, and a little bit behind the scene. And then you can call them to action through stories as well. Okay. And that is your content funnel. That's how you go through actually getting people to engage with your stuff and not being stuck in that middle point where you are just saying, hey, trust me to the same people who are either your clients, your mum who likes your posts every time, or your 3 friends who are also liking your posts, and you're like, fuck, why am I not getting clients? Because you're not adding new fish to the barrel. So this is what that funnel's for. The funnel is there for having a barrel, which is your Instagram profile, adding new fish into the funnel, feeding them with that value content in the middle, feeding them, nurturing them, getting you to like and trust you. And then end of the day, when you need to get some new clients and do some fishing, you cast a line and you get a lot of big bites because you've spent that time refilling the barrel, nurturing them, and getting them to a point where they know, like, and trust you enough that they want to work with you. Okay? And that, my friends, is the content funnel. Final notes: make sure that 50% of your content is that machine gun content. It is top of funnel, is there to attract new people. In the middle, you want about 30% of your content to be that trust content, the shotgun content, getting people to know, like, and trust you more. And then finally, once you've nurtured them, you can call them to action with sniper content. This is, transformations, calls to action, direct emotion-based stuff, all that. Okay. And off the back of that, I promise you, you will make more sales if you implement this. The last little thing I will say about content: anything that you do with content generally has about a 6 to 8 week lag. If you start implementing this today and consistently, you will see the benefits of this in about 6 to 8 weeks. Okay. So that's a very important thing to notice as well. Brilliant. I think that's everything I wanted to touch upon in that today. And hopefully that gives you a little bit more in-depth knowledge on the content funnel and what you should be doing, and the mistakes that you might be making and how to fix them. Thank you very much for listening. I massively appreciate it. If you are listening to this and you think that was useful, I would massively appreciate if you could send this to a friend, like it, save it, follow it, all of that good stuff. I would love this. As I say in every episode, I want this to be an absolute just like gem, like diamond in the rough for coaches who want to grow and scale their content and their business and their systems and their automations and basically run a fitness business on their terms. And I want it to be an incredibly useful free resource for you to be able to do so. I don't want you to kind of get hooked in for stuff that most people will put out and be like, oh, I'm going to show you how to do this, and then they don't show you. Hopefully that was valuable for you today. If you did think so, please give it a share, give it a like, give it a save, give it a follow, and give it a rating. 5 stars, make me happy. Right, hope you all have a fantastic day, and I will catch you all on the next episode.